I'm Henry Herbert. I'm a professional chef. Whoa! We run a specialist butcher shop in the Cotswolds.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy your chops.
I'm Tom, Henry's big brother, and I'm in charge of the bakery next door.
Thank you very much.
For 5 generations, we've run our family business right here in Gloucestershire.
It's Christmas. We're passionate about food, and at this time of year, we like to do things a bit differently.
Woo! Inspired by the 12 days of Christmas, we're putting our twist on tradition and have come up with 12 alternative recipes like you've never seen before.
That blows the cobwebs away.
If you fancy a change to the usual fare, we've got the perfect antidote.
Flippin'-licious.
We're putting the meat back in mince pies
Beautiful.
and transforming some old favourites,
That's a taste of Christmas, isn't it? All in one mouthful.
while creating delicious edible gifts for family and friends.
That looks brilliant. Thank you very much.
Festive jumpers at the ready. Cancel the sprouts. And say goodbye to the bread sauce.
This is Christmas, Baker Brothers style. We're big fans of Christmas and everything that goes with it. But for us this year, it's out with the old and in with the new.
Merry Christmas.
Coming up, we're going to show you a sweet chili makeover for your sad old bowl of nuts.
That is delicious.
And put the heat into a traditional tipple.
Oh, wow.
But we're starting with a bang by reinventing 2 Christmas staples, crackers and turkey.
The cracker's been around since 1840. Now it's time for a transformation.
I find Christmas crackers a bit disappointing. I mean, after the bang, there's not much else to them. So we've created the ultimate edible Christmas cracker, and I promise you, when you pull it, you won't be disappointed.
Start with 1 onion, finely chopped.
This dish is totally cracking. I mean, it's got booze in it, it's got turkey, it's got sausage meat, it's got cranberries. It's basically your Christmas meal in one.
Melt a large knob of butter in a pan and sweat the onions over a low heat until they're soft and sweet. You don't want them brown and burned.
And now for the fun bit. Can't have Christmas without booze. So we've got some orange liqueur here and some beautiful dried cranberries. 200 grams in there.
And then I'm going to add 150 ml of beautiful orange liqueur.
Got to have a bit of flame in at Christmas, haven't you?
Now the flambe is not just for show. It burns off the alcohol, leaving behind a sweet orangey flavour. A perfect match for the sourness of the cranberries.
So you just turn the heat off and leave it for about 10 minutes.
While your fruit drinks up that flavour, finely chop 4 sage leaves and add to the onion.
Pinch of salt and pepper. There we go. So these onions have been cooking down, they're lovely and soft. I'm just going to grab a bowl and just cool them down for about 5–10 minutes before we add our lovely meats.
Oh, while you're doing that, I'll do my phyllo.
Yeah, there's your butter.
Thank you very much for
Nicely
that.
melted.
I'm going to wrap our Christmas crackers in phyllo pastry. This is shop bought. No one makes it at home.
You need square sheets of phyllo, about 10 inches across. Layer 4 sheets for each cracker. To stop them separating when they cook, brush with lots of lovely melted butter.
Done. On with the 4th and final layer. Now, this layer doesn't need butter in. This just needs the filling. And it's really worth doing 4 layers because this is going to make your Christmas cracker look beautiful and hold together. Right, 1 down, 5 more to go.
So my ingredients have all cooled down. I've got my onions, I've got my cranberries in booze. And to that, I'm going to add 350 grams of turkey mince. I mean, Christmas without turkey, what would that be?
Because turkey mince is really lean, I'm also chucking in 350 grams of pork sausage meat.
Basically adds a bit of fat, so it's going to be nice and juicy.
Bang in the boozy cranberries.
Just going to put a pinch of salt and pepper in there. Chuck it in.
All you need to do now is give it a good old mix. And that's it. Ready to make your crackers.
Little tip here. If you get wet hands, the filling doesn't stick.
Roll the meat mix shorter than the phyllo, leaving a gap at each end.
A little sausage of Christmas joy. Look at that.
So when you've got it about yay long and yay thickness, all we do is just roll it up. Look at that. Cracking.
And for that truly authentic look, give it a pinch at each end.
Voila, a proper Christmas cracker. And now all we need to do is butter them, Makes them beautiful and shiny.
And good pinch of salt and pepper.
Cook them at 190 degrees for about 30 minutes.
Or until they're beautiful, golden and crispy. Oh, there can't have ever been a more beautiful Christmas cracker. And they're edible too. One finishing touch.
And a tie a bow on it.
They may be 170 years old, but crackers have never looked so tasty.
We should pull it.
Absolutely. You ready? Oh, look at that. It smells amazing. It's so good.
That's a taste of Christmas, isn't it? All in one mouthful.
There's not even a sprout needed.
You can make these and freeze them before the big day, just like traditional homemade sausage rolls. But they're best cooked fresh and make a cracking gift.
What do you think?
It's not bad.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
Take care.
Summer or winter, we love cooking on the barbecue, and this time of year, it gives us the perfect excuse for a hot toddy. Our next two recipes are guaranteed to warm your cockles, and we're kicking off by giving an old cocktail a very modern makeover.
Just because it's cold outside doesn't mean you can't cook outside. And I love an old-fashioned whiskey cocktail, and this is my hot version. Perfect for a cold Christmassy day. So, to make this, putting a dozen cloves into an orange, sticking that in a pan, gonna add to it big peel of lemon zest, 8 cubes of sugar, 400 mils of water, 400 mils of whiskey, certainly going to warm us up, and 30 millilitres of Angostura bitters.
The Americans might have come up with this 60s classic, but I'm claiming this version for Britain.
When it's heated up like this, it makes one heck of a Christmassy hot toddy. Just want to leave these somewhere warm to steep and infuse together. And it's done when the sugar's dissolved.
What better to go with the new old-fashioned than our sweet and spicy take on traditional Christmas nuts?
We've got 3 of my favourite nuts. We've got Brazil nuts, almonds and cashews, and we're going to make a delicious, spicy, salty caramel. So I need about 200 grams or so of caster sugar into a dry pan. And then to punch it up, I got some dried chili flakes. It's going for about a tablespoon of that. This is really going to put some fire in these nuts. And now for that lovely kind of sweet and salty flavour, I'm going to add some smoked sea salt. About a tablespoon.
Heat the sugar for about 4 minutes, shaking it up now and again to help it melt.
While that's happening, I'm just going to mix my nuts in a bowl.
These are my favourites, but you can use any nuts. Just make sure they're unsalted.
And just to add to that, I've got 1 diced up chilli and about a tablespoon of chopped up rosemary. My caramel is looking lovely. Now all we need to do is really quickly put all our nuts in there and give it a stir around. And this makes like a nut brittle, but with a bit of a savoury chili kick to it. And all the caramel has coated those nuts. While it's still warm, we're going to pour it straight onto a silicone mat. Get all the caramel out, don't want to waste any of that. Just bash them out until they're relatively flat. And then you want to leave this to cool for about 5 to 10 minutes until the caramel is set. Right, so let's have a look at those nuts. Look at that.
That crack's better than a cracker, isn't it?
And they're so beautiful, look, I love the shine.
And the salty sweetness.
And the rosemary coming through, that is a delicious, nutty snack. Right, let's try some of your old-fashioned. Oh, it smells so good. Cheers. That is so good. That is strong. Packs a punch. I tell you what, a flask of this, big handful of nuts, and a brisk walk on a cold day. What could be better?
If you can resist scoffing the lot, in jars and bottles, these make brilliant presents. Coming up, we give traditional Christmas even more of a shake-up.
Now that is cool. We create the best gift when we smoke bomb a side of salmon. Peace on earth.
Get scientific with a Bloody Mary.
Amazing! And Henry does the unthinkable by putting meat back into mince pies.
Totally delicious.
This year, we're turning Christmas on its head with 12 alternative recipes to cook and eat and give as gifts.
We'll be creating edible presents, do-it-yourself smoked salmon,
That looks brilliant.
And reviving a historic recipe for a meaty mince pie.
Merry Christmas.
But first, we're creating a pick-me-up with a kick for those days when it's not just the Christmas tree that's flagging.
December is all about excess, and boy, are we feeling it. So what we really need is something to sort us out.
Which is why we've created the Baker Brothers Hangover Cure. It's hot, it's spicy, it's medicinal, and it'll help you take on even the biggest Christmas hangovers. And it starts with a glug of olive oil into a warm pan.
And I'm going to take one nice onion and dice it up.
We're making a spiky alternative to the Bloody Mary, and it comes in the form of a heartwarming soup.
These just need to sweat in here for 15 minutes.
Right, so I'm chopping up 2 fat cloves of garlic. And then a nice red chilli. Just going to put some fire back in our bellies. Just going to de-seed it. Don't want too much fire.
The chili's not just for the heat. It's a natural painkiller and can make your body release endorphins to help lift your mood.
So all these in the pan for just a minute to infuse all the flavours, and we're ready for the tomatoes.
Boffins in the lab believe tomatoes activate enzymes in your liver that can help lower alcohol levels.
Bring that up to a simmer, then we're ready for the stock.
And because it's Christmas, we're using turkey. So 400 mils straight in there.
Or you could use chicken. Now to let all those wonderful flavours infuse together, you need to let that simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. Right, this looks and smells very fine, but it's not fine enough.
So that's why we've got this thing, a massive moulie. And this will make it nice and smooth.
Don't worry if you haven't got one of these contraptions at home. A stick blender will do the job just as well.
And look at it. Oh, it's all dripping through lovely. Don't want to waste any of this. There we go.
And now for the fun bit. Time to spice up our cure.
So I'm going to start with a good splash of Worcester sauce. Delicious.
And for a bit more fire, a bit of Tabasco. We're particularly bad, so a good few splashes.
Good squeeze of honey.
It's always going to help you out, isn't it? Splash of sherry, bit of hair of the dog. Oh, yeah, good stuff. And then, just because it's kind of like a Bloody Mary, we've got some celery salt here. This stuff's really good.
Big pinch of pepper.
Give it a mix in. Now it's important to have a taste. Oh, that's good enough.
And it's at this point you fine-tune it to your hangover.
We're going to add some strong stuff. I got some delicious chili vodka. I'm just going to glug some in.
But not too much, because this is a cure. We don't want to create another hangover.
We like our soup boozy, but it's just as lush without.
I'll just pour this into a jug.
To ensure this hangover cure feels like it's just what the doctor ordered, we're serving it up in test tubes.
They look beautiful, don't they? Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye, hangover. Amazing.
Ooh, that blows the cobwebs away.
Good use of your science kit, Henry.
Hangovers well and truly sorted. It's time for a very different type of cure. We're going to show you how to preserve and home smoke a wonderful gift.
What could be nicer at Christmas than to give away as a present a side of salmon that you've smoked yourself?
But before you get smoking,
you need to cure your fish first. Take 200 grams of caster sugar, 200 grams of sea salt, 2 tablespoons of crushed pink peppercorns, and 100 mils of whiskey. Mix it all up to make a paste. Spread half the salty mix on the bottom of a tray and lie your salmon on top, skin side down. Put the rest of the mix on the fish and pat it down so it's completely covered. Wrap and refrigerate.
And as you can see, the salt in the cure has drawn the moisture out of the salmon and it's firmed it up. So we're just going to brush it off, and this is the fun bit. You just dip it in some water. What an exciting life I lead. And you just want to rub any of the excess off. Now, the reason we cure the salmon is because it makes it easier for the smoke to penetrate into the flesh and take on those lovely flavours. Here, I've got some smoke bombs.
these parcels of whiskey barrel wood chips will give our salmon a knockout flavour. We found ours on the internet. Soak them in water first so they burn slowly and produce maximum smoke.
Tom, can you come give us a hand? Right. So we're just going to chuck them under our grill. Let's get smoking.
Morning, Shen. The coals are really hot, and those bombs will take a couple of minutes, and when they start smoking, then we can get our salmon on. We have smoke, we're ready for the salmon.
Right, so we're going to put the salmon on, skin side down, and this salmon is going to take 10 minutes to smoke. Right, let's get our chamber on top. On with the lid. Right then, time for a pint.
Oh.
Right, so that's been 10 minutes. Whoa, that looks absolutely perfect. It's taken on loads of colour. It's going to be still nice and pink in the middle. Perfect. Right, so we just need to carefully lift these off.
Bit of a two-man job, this.
It is, yeah. Nice and gentle. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
Now, don't worry about the skin, because we're not going to eat that.
It's like its own natural kind of tin foil. Stops it burning. If you're doing this in your kitchen, you probably don't want quite as much smoke. Otherwise, your alarm's definitely going to go off.
It's definitely an outside job.
Now, the perfect thing to go with this is some light rye sourdough. This works beautifully with the sweetness of the salmon.
Lovely. Right, that's just to flake some off. Just going to use my fingers, because it's still nice and warm. Look at that. That smells amazing.
Because it's got all those beautiful colours in there, from pale pink right the way through to almost orange, you can see that it's cooked, but we've not overcooked it. And one thing will perfectly finish that off, some creme fraiche with dill in it.
Don't mind if I do. Ding dong.
Sweet, festive treat.
Really tastes the whiskey coming through. It's absolutely delicious.
That is 3 layers of festive joy. Peace on earth.
Nothing's going to survive our alternative take on Christmas. Even the mince pies aren't sacred.
While Tom's making a zesty version, I'm delving into Christmas past. Mince pies have been around for hundreds of years, ever since Crusaders brought back sweet, spicy mutton versions from the Middle East. So I'm using a slow-roasted leg of lamb to put the meat back into mince pies. Trust me, I'm a butcher.
So while my lamb's resting, I'm now going to make the filling. And this is really easy. It's basically cooked onions with some delicious spices. And you may be thinking, like, sweet meat pie, does that work? Absolutely, it works. It's totally delicious. And it's basically inspired by Old English mincemeat pie. Back in the 15th century, they used to put meat and sweet together, you know, candied peel, raisins, sugar, and it's delicious. So I've got a pan warming, just got to put a splash of olive oil in. We're just going to sweat these onions for a few minutes. Right, just give them a little stir. Sorry. Right, I'm going to add some delicious spices. Oh, spices and Christmas go together, don't they? And also, it goes really well with the lamb.
Add a teaspoon of coriander, a teaspoon of cumin, and you've got to have some cinnamon.
And then just for a bit of fire, I got some smoked paprika. I'm just going to go for half a teaspoon there. That's really going to give these little pies a kick. Oh, it smells so good. It's like mulled wine and onions. Oh, almost forgot. A little grating of nutmeg. Christmas wouldn't be complete without it. Delicious. Stir that in. And now to add to that, we've got some beautiful medjool dates. They really are the most beautiful dates you'll ever see. I'm just going to dice them up relatively small. And I'm just going to cook that down gently for about 50 minutes till all the flavours get to know each other and the dates really soften up and take on all those lovely spicy flavours. And now we need to pull this lamb. I used half a leg here. Look at it, it's so beautiful. And because we've cooked it nice and slow, it's all delicious and tender. So you just want to peel off the fat. We're just going to flake it into the bowl. The reason why I use leg is because it's quite lean. We don't really want loads of fat in this. We just want that lovely tender meat. So the leg's perfect. Right, so that's my lamb done. Now I've got my cooled medjool dates. I'm just going to scrape them in.
To add a bit of crunch, chuck in a handful of pistachio nuts.
I'm going to give them a little rough chop through. And now to bring this whole pie together, I'm using shop-bought mincemeat.
250 grams. You can make your own, but the stuff you buy in the supermarket is just as good.
Just need a pinch of salt. And just for a bit of freshness, squeeze a lemon. That's just going to bring a bit of acidity and a bit of zing to this delicious filling. Oh, that is so good.
For my pie cases, I'm using Tom's short crust pastry.
Put 225 grams of plain flour, 100 grams of icing sugar, and 110 grams of cold butter into a mixer and blitz until it resembles breadcrumbs. Separate 4 eggs and add the yolks to the mix. Next, a pinch of salt, the seeds of 1 vanilla pod, and a splash of milk. Mix until the lumps have gone and the pastry has come together. Roll into a sausage, wrap in cling film, and leave to chill for 30 minutes.
Thanks, Thomas. I've rolled out the pastry and cut out 12 bases and 12 lids.
Now time to fill these little beauties. Just take some of this delicious mixture. You just want to heap them in. And then before I put the lids on, I just got a little egg wash here, and that's just going to help our lids to stick. And then to top them, just take the pastry lid, just give it a little stretch, neatly tuck it on top, and then just give it a small crimp to seal it together. Give them a little prick. Doosh, doosh. And what this does is just lets it steam out and allows the top to become lovely and crispy. One final coating of egg wash. And these pies go into the oven, 200 degrees, 18 to 20 minutes. Oh, look at these beautiful pies. And while they're still warm, I'm just going to give them a dusting of sugar. That's going to make them really shine. You need to do it while they're hot, otherwise they won't stick. Merry Christmas.
Next, I'm taking on Henry's historic pie with a cream cheese twist.
These look mighty fine. Wow.
We take the blanket off a pig and stick it on a fig.
And they taste amazing.
And I go from baker to builder to construct a gingerbread house of epic proportions.
That's you, 35 years ago.
Her job, transform that outdated gown. His job, find a new one.
I just love it.
Will it be something borrowed or something new? Tomorrow on TLC.
I have to get out of the Amish country.
I do have a secret. The time to leave the Amish is now. Woo! Whoa!
It's totally amazing.
Brand new Breaking Amish LA. Tuesday on TLC. Finding love is never easy.
My heart breaks every time I see a guy.
It's no wonder we can get a little lost.
I would like to find love. There, I said it.
But for these extraordinary singletons, hopes are high.
It's basically the answer to happiness, isn't it?
And help is at hand.
So what are you looking for?
But will love conquer all? The Undateables, Wednesday on TLC.
We're cooking our way through Christmas, but this year, we're shaking it up with 12 rousing recipes to get you through the season.
We're 6 down and there's 6 more to come.
Henry well and truly butchered the traditional mince pie recipe by adding meat to his filling. But for me, the best mince pies are made by bakers. I'm doing things differently too. A crazy cream cheese topping and a citrusy twist. It all starts with a short crust pastry.
I'm going to add orange zest. It's going to give it a wonderful, festive fragrance. So I've put this zest on the closest half. Now I just need to fold it in. So the orange is layered in between the pastry. It's nice and neat and ready to roll out again. You want it just thick enough that it holds it all together, but you don't want it so thick that you get a mouthful of pastry. I'm using a serrated cutter because it's Christmas and it's pretty. If you find your pastry sticking to the table, just tease it off with a knife and pop it in the pie case. Right, these sweet little pies are ready for the mincemeat.
Just like Henry, I'm using a shop-bought mix.
330 grams.
And for extra flavour, I'm going to jazz it up.
Flaked almonds.
About 50 grams.
Dried cranberries. Teaspoon of ginger. And to make them more spicy, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And to make them even more Christmassy, half a teaspoon of clove. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to dice up 3 pieces of stem ginger. finally, for my mincemeat, the zest of another orange. That is luxury mincemeat right there. Just have to spoon them into the pies. So you're looking to fill these about 2/3 full. Now this is where I blow the lid off Christmas tradition, because my pie's having a sweet cream cheese topping. Sounds totally wild, it's a winning combination. So to make this topping, I need a sieve, icing sugar, and cream cheese, a whole tub of it. So that goes into the bowl. 3 tablespoons of icing sugar. Just gonna sift the lumps out. Oh, it is a white Christmas. Finally, for this topping, the juice of half an orange. Right, just beat it together with the spoon so there's no lumps. Yum, yum. Final bit of spooning. So just dab a bit on. Right, now for a flurry of flaked almonds. Now toast in the oven and give each mouthful a little crunchy bite. These at 220 degrees for 12 minutes. Oh yeah, these look mighty fine. Wow.
That's 1 baker's pie and 1 butcher's pie.
Everybody has pigs in blankets at Christmas, and they're delicious. But we like to be a bit different, so we've come up with figs in pigs.
They're the perfect, tasty treat for the festive season.
I'm just gonna cut across into the top of this beautiful fig, but only going halfway through. And this is what I love about figs. It's when you squish them together and you reveal that beautiful inside. I mean, it's quite Christmassy. Look at those lush colours. So we're just gonna do all 5. So just squish them all up together. Look at these beautiful figs waiting for their pigs. And just to stuff inside our figs, I've got some rich goat's cheese. Now, I'm using a goat's cheese that's quite soft and squidgy because it melts beautifully. Let's just chop it up into nice little chunks. And then you just want to pop a bit in there. Look at that. And then we're just going to wrap it around with some pancetta.
I love this Italian bacon as it goes really crispy in the oven. But you could use the English stuff.
This is so easy, but it's so delicious.
To keep them together when cooking, spear with a cocktail stick. Just don't forget to take them out before serving.
Now, you may have noticed that I haven't used any salt in this recipe. That's because there's loads of salt in the cheese, there's loads in the bacon. Now all we need is a baking tray, bit of greaseproof paper, hoik them on. So there you go, my friends. Figs and pigs. All they need is a quick stint in the oven, about 210 degrees for 10 minutes. Look at these beautiful figs in pigs. All we need to do now is plate them up. These smell amazing. I'm feeling very festive. And then just to finish them off, dollop of onion chutney.
Oh, nice work, Henry.
You bought a beer.
Yeah, fancy an ale with one of them?
These need a couple of minutes to cool down, but I'm far too hungry. And take the stick out.
Oh, how good do they smell?
They smell so good. And they taste amazing. High five.
Christmas is coming, and as Santa's busy with his final wrapping, I'm making the ultimate present. Welcome to my gingerbread mansion.
Is there anything edible that's more magical and more Christmassy than a gingerbread house? I don't think so. It starts with 600 grams of butter into a pan. Now, I know that seems like a heck of a lot of butter, and it is, but we're building a mansion. We need a lot of raw materials. We add to that 600 grams of dark muscovado sugar. Feel a bit more like a builder than a cook making these, and this is going to be our concrete walls, if you will. Add to that 8 tablespoons of golden syrup. Just look at all of that. This is not for the faint-hearted. This much sweetness could power all of Santa's reindeer. Now, to make my mansion taste beautifully gingery, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of the syrup from a jar of stem ginger. Now, to give my mansion a bit of character, 2 tablespoons of black treacle.
Then all you need to do is mix it together and bring it to a simmer. When all the sugar's melted, it's time to add the dry ingredients.
Now I just need to add 1.5 kilos of plain white flour. Now we're going to add some spice. 2 tablespoons of mixed spice. And then loads of ginger. 4 tablespoons. Half a teaspoon of clove. Now, with the aid of my trusty wooden spoon, I will become the human cement mixer.
Fold in the flour until it all comes together. And that is your gingerbread dough. You could just make gingerbread men, of course, but where's the fun in that? My mansion obviously needs walls and a roof, so I'm going to roll some out, about 3 millimeters thick. Now construction can begin. Time to check my plans.
I should have an architect, and I really could do with a project manager, but I haven't got the budget for it, and I need to get the roof on, so I'm going to build this massive mansion on my own. Well, I suppose there's only one thing for it. Build it and see what happens. I've been doing a lot of research, and although I haven't found a way of doing double-glazed windows for my gingerbread mansion, I have found a way of making delicious, stained-glassed, yellow windows that have pineapple flavour. So I'm going to use 3 of these boiled sweets per window. This really is magical, edible alchemy. Before construction can commence, I need to bake my gingerbread 10 to 12 minutes, 180 degrees, until they're golden and brown. The gingerbread has cooled for half an hour, so now it's nice and firm. And just look at how beautiful those windows are. To stick it all together, I've got me some confectioner's cement. In there's 500 grams of icing sugar and 2 egg whites. This is the trickiest part of the build, but now my dream starts to become reality. So I'm just using some tins to give this thing support while the icing sets. Well, just like any building project, it doesn't get done without a good cup of tea.
To bring my magical creation to life, I'm putting up rows of LED lights to give the effect of twinkling icicles. A house just isn't a home without a happy family and all its belongings. The illusion is complete with the help of a home food smoker. At this time of year, a cozy roaring fire is a must. Well, my mansion is complete, and at a time like Christmas, there's really only one thing to do with it. 'Tis the season of mistletoe and wine, walking in the air, and above all, children. And their love of wanton destruction. Leaving me to nurse a broken baker's heart.
Merry Christmas.
Next, I show you how to make our family's alternative to a Christmas fry-up.
I can't think of a better way to start a Christmas morning.
And it's bye-bye birdie as we ditch the turkey and rival the traditional festive feast.
Putting the claws back in Santa.
It's Christmas, Baker Brothers style.
We've served up 9 of our 12 Yuletide recipes.
And we're home for the holidays to feed the masses. So we'll be lighting the family barbecue to create a truly alternative festive feast.
The flippin'-licious.
And show you our very own take on mulled wine.
Woo! But first, we're kicking off with our family's answer to the traditional fry-up.
Our grandpa created this dish. It's named after the village he lived in. It starts with the bacon.
Staple of every great breakfast. So I've got 12 rashers with the rind off. Now you want to use streaky because it's got a bit of fat in it and it makes it extra tasty. And then just to loosen the pan, just gonna put a little bit of oil. Whenever there's a family get-together, I'm always one who gets up early and gets the bacon on. And I love the smell of that bacon wafting through the house. So we just want to crisp up our bacon. Now, it's really important here that you don't over-crisp it. You want that juicy bacon, but a bit of colour on the outside. It's all about getting it just right.
Add chopped in tomatoes and allow to gently simmer.
This just needs to cook down for about 3 to 4 minutes till it's slightly thickened. What could be better than bacon, tomatoes, poached egg on top, lots of coffee, all your family around? It's absolutely delicious, and it sets you off perfect for a good day.
Morning, Ham.
Morning, Arch.
Morning, Thomas.
This dish was always a real treat for me, my brothers and sister. And it still is today.
How you doing?
So this is looking perfect. The tomatoes reduced down. Look at that, gorgeous.
Now for the magic ingredient, pinhead oats. They don't break down nearly as much as the stuff you make porridge with and create a delicious risotto-like texture.
Now, it's really important that we just cook this for about 4 or 5 minutes, just going to slightly thicken it, and then you rest it. Like a good porridge, you rest it and it gets that lovely kind of slight wobble to it. That's when it's perfect. So we're going proper grandpa style with curly parsley. None of that flat leaf here. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, I smell the coffee. You all right? So all this needs now is put the lid on and leave it to rest for about 5 minutes just to let the pinhead absorb all the moisture and get that lovely wobble. Now time for the poached eggs. I've got a pan of simmering water and I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. It just strengthens the egg and means you get a more perfectly poached egg. In the water, you just want bubbles coming up. And as those bubbles come up, it's going to make the egg kind of form into its shape. We're just going to crack them in. And these are going to take about 3 minutes to poach.
This very special breakfast is best served on the best toast.
You want a really nice handmade white loaf. This one's an overnight dough. It's full of flavour. It's going to make brilliant toast.
And look at those eggs. They're looking perfect. They're forming together. They're nice and tight, and they've got a little tail on the top. Right, guys, breakfast about a minute away. Do you want to come bring your plates? Who's hungry, then?
Sounds good, Han.
Ladies first.
Thank you.
Bon appetit.
Ah, cheers, Han. Cheers, brother. Happy Christmas.
That's all right. I always make sure I save extra for me at the end. I did get up early and cook it, after all. And there. What could be more perfect to start Christmas off with?
Everyone has mulled wine at Christmas, but our next recipe is a spiky makeover of this festive fuel. Now, a word of warning. I'm about to add 10 spices to the cauldron, so make sure you're paying attention.
So I've got some beautiful mace. Just crack that in there. Some juniper. Now, this is quite strong, so you don't want too much. We've got some allspice here. A couple of cloves. You don't want too much, otherwise it ends up tasting like potpourri. You've got some coriander seeds. Just a small pinch of chili. It's very much in it goes. Then about a teaspoon of ground ginger. 5 of these delicious star anise. That gives it that really festive punch. Cinnamon stick, gotta have that. Snap it up. Now for a vanilla pod. Split down the middle, gets all the seeds out. There we go. So it's a real melting pot of spices from all over the world, but it needs freshening up. So I'm just gonna put some lemon peel in, just 5 strips, and then sweeten up about 200 grams of nice honey. That's about 5 tablespoons. Quick stir, and the all-important taste. Oh, that's really good. Now, we just need to gently let that mull so all those lovely spices get together. A bit of brandy. Woo! Come try some of that, Tom.
Try this.
What do you think of that?
Oh boy, that is a lip-smacking taste of Christmas. This hot and scrumptious punch is just perfect to go with our grand finale.
Into a mixing bowl, break up 2 toasted sesame seed bagels. Thinly slice 3 red onions. And thickly chop a whole cucumber. No need to remove the seeds. Take 750 grams of baby plum tomatoes and half lengthways. Roughly chop 2 large handfuls of parsley, the same of mint, and add to the bowl. Season with salt, pepper, and a teaspoon of lemony sumac. Dress with 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar and 6 of oil. Then get your hands in there and mix it up. Bingo, the fattoush is ready.
Now it's the baker's turn to make the koftas. I've got here 1.8 kilos of good quality venison mince. I'm going to add to that 2 finely diced red onions, 6 chopped up cloves of garlic, 3 whole fresh chilies, finely chopped, big pinch of dried chili, and a big pinch of ground juniper. That is a taste of Christmas. It's kind of pine needly, it goes beautifully with the venison. A tablespoon of ground cumin and a tablespoon of ground coriander. And to season all of that, big pinch of salt and pepper. Now to give it a bit of zing and freshness, the juice of 1 whole lemon. Now, to get friendly with my venison, mix them all together with my hands. I'm using venison because once Father Christmas is finished with his reindeer, frankly, this is the best thing for them. Venison's a lovely alternative to the usual meat you eat at Christmas. It's kind of rich and gamey, it's nice and lean. But if you didn't use this, I suppose lamb would be a good alternative. Right, all this delicious, spicy raw meat's ready to be kofted. So the first thing to do is to make this into a sausage shape. Once you have your sausage, skewer it. And that, once it's grilled, will be our venison kofta. Now, these just need to go in the fridge for half an hour to firm up. Because it's flipping cold outside, stick them in the garden. Time to cook these koftas. First, I need to olive oil them up. That'll stop them sticking to the grill. You need to get your grill nice and hot. About 2 minutes on each side. You want them slightly pink in the middle. Oh, hear that sizzle? That's what you're listening for. Just looking for these to colour up. Get a beautiful bit of venison caramelisation. Right, let's see if these are ready. De-flippin'-licious. 12 beautiful koftas, ready for the table.
Now to really push the boat out, serve the turf with some gorgeous lobster.
So I've got my grill hot, these have been boiled and split, and then it's going to go straight on the grill.
Our friendly local fishmonger prepared these beauties to save me the bother. Once on the grill, they'll only take about 3 minutes to cook.
And that's going to get nice and crisped up and beautifully smoky. To stop the flesh from sticking when we turn them over, I'm just going to drizzle it with some olive oil. That'll also help to caramelise them up lovely. Right, let's give them a turn to see how they're looking.
Half a lobster per person is plenty.
Oh, wow, Henry.
That's what we want, lovely bit of colour.
They smell great.
Time for the serve to meet the turf.
Dodgy turkey? What's this? Hey.
I can see you, Al. Nice. Yeah, get a drink. Tuck in.
Well, they know how to look after themselves. 12 of our family and friends for an alternative Christmas feast.
Let it begin.
Look at that crustacean stack. Come on, guys, you hungry? Hey, there you go.
Make way.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas barbecue in full swing. There's no tears for the turkey.
There you go. Have a lobster.
Lobster. Gotta get used to this. So what's wrong with turkey, Hen?
There you go.
They ran out at the butchery.
There you go, ladies first.
After a dozen recipes and plenty of kitsch jumpers, that's our alternative Christmas just about wrapped up.
Happy Christmas!
But remember, as you make these festive dishes,
Merry Christmas.
food this good's not for life, it's just for Christmas.